Good morning. Welcome to the February 6, 2020 Board of Mayor and Alderman work session. I'm going to ask Alderman Bryant to say the opening prayer, and then we'll get into our agenda.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this time to come back and do the city's business. God, we just pray you be with each one of us here. Pray, Lord, that you'll be with the ones that's dealing with the flooding, the first responders, God, all the different employees of the city and county that's dealing with the flooding. Pray, God, you look over our community. Just pray that you'll take care of our everyone in our community, our citizens. Lord, we just pray that whatever we do here today would be in your will, in the way that you would have it done. We thank you, God, for the food that's been prepared this morning. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Our first item is review of the January 9th, 2020 work session minutes. Does anybody have any additions, corrections, subtractions? If not, we'll accept those. Under number 2A, ADA transition plan discussion. I discussed in finance the other day. I think most of the aldermen were there except for Alderman Martinez and Allen, that last week community partners came down and had a discussion, a meeting, kind of a steering committee meeting with several of us that have been asked to be on this steering committee about following up on the ADA transition study that we had approved earlier in the year. And community partners hired a firm that went out and assessed all of our sidewalks and our buildings to see where they were at with ADA compliance and ranked them in priority of high, medium, low on what they think we should appropriate in the future from a financial standpoint to upgrade ADA compliance. In front of you have two maps, one of them dealing with the sidewalks and the other dealing with the facilities. So Alderman Bryant, Vice Mayor Small, myself, we're on this committee. Some of the buildings on here fall also within the utilities and also fall within the city school system. So Alderman Bryant suggested to Brian Hill from Community Partners that when we come back and have another meeting, that representatives from utilities and the school system be a part of this. And also I asked and said we need more detailed notes on the assessment of these, because what you have is you just have a broad range financially of what their suggestion is. And basically what happens is that the state through TDOT wants communities to establish an ADA compliance plan with their building, sidewalks, transportation, and the timetable. And the timetable is not set. It could be you could have a short-term, long-term. It could be a 50-year plan, but they want to know that you have a plan and you have something in progress. So EMAD is our ADA compliance person within the city. So I wanted to bring to attention here everybody on the board and give you this information that you can look over. And there will be another meeting. So as we get into strategic planning and our budget, we'll start getting together and developing our thought process on what we think a plan should be and what we agree on as a board. So I wanted to pass this out to everybody if you have this information on hand, and if anybody from the public wants to see it, you can get copies from the front office. We'll go into our department reports. Public Works, Mr. Plunkett.
I don't have nothing today, Mayor.
Since we have the situation with the flooding, can you give an update on what out there is flooded at the moment, or maybe, I know in front of the flower house I heard was blocked.
Yes, sir. From Maple Street down to the bypass is closed. Old Mulberry Road's closed. Adams Street, Norris Street, Maple Street, Lincoln in front of the Farmers Market. What'd I leave out, Rich?
I think you got them all.
Stonebridge Park.
Yeah, Stonebridge Park, and also back here around Front Street, backside of Chuck Wagon, on Maywood, back up to Mayberry.
Yeah, it's still rising, so we don't know where we're gonna be in a couple hours.
Okay. Well, we'll keep up with EMA, see what TVA does about if they release water. Hopefully we don't have a situation like we did last year. Have you heard anything?
They're not going to release. They've stopped releasing. They're not going to start releasing again until after Friday.
Okay, great. That'll help out tremendously. So hopefully we get through this round of rainfall today and things recede. Unfortunately, we have more rain coming next week, so. Go to the police department, Chief Howell.
Mayor, I'm presenting the Slaughburger Chase 5K for 18 of 2020. Also, Junior's House Blue Ribbon Walk is 5/13/2020.
These are standard
Yes, sir.
permits,
Annual events.
annual events. So if the board's okay, we'll pass this on to Tuesday night to approve. Fire department, Chief Baldwin, you have 2 people we're going to swear in as new firefighters.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 new firefighters, Daniel Underwood and Chris Young.
Anything else you all report us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Parks and Recreation, interim staffing proposal. Scott, will you explain this we talked about in finance the other day?
Yes, and there may be a withdrawal of the request. Because of all the confusion and everything, Director and I have talked, and we're going to withdraw it and then present it back at the next committee meeting, because we just need to flesh it out a little bit more and make a clearer understanding of what is being requested.
It came through finance, and we had issues with it. Finance did. We just didn't feel like it was ready to do anything till everything's clarified better. Is that about right?
I would agree. That's why I asked to bring it to the full board, just to open it for discussion.
Well, there was finance had a question about it that was not answered to our satisfaction, but we did bring it on because we should bring it on to the, work session, but I'm glad you're gonna go back and do some more work on it.
Okay. All right. Planning and codes, Ms. Gentry, Sequatchie property proposal.
Yes, sir, Mayor. We took this to our committee. I've been in contact with Mr. Chris Pryor and Mr. Mark Williams, representatives of the Sequatchie concrete property, and they have submitted a proposal for the option for the city to purchase this property, and our committee members thought that this item may be taken to strategic planning, but it was considered of getting an appraisal of the property to have more information for when it went to strategic planning.
Oh, okay. Okay. Everybody have a letter in front of them in which they've made 2 proposals on the cost, one being $550,000. Another part is just a portion at $425,000. So what are the thoughts about getting an appraisal on the property?
I like the idea of having the appraisal before we do the discussion to see where we are. Not only that, we'll have to consider the cleanup of the property on top of that.
I think it's too high for that property being in a flood zone. I don't think a whole lot can be done with that property by anybody, and $550 or $425 is, I don't want to waste the money on an appraisal at that price.
I'm not anywhere even close to spending this kind of money on that property. What seems like to me ought to happen is this. We have codes. We have certain codes in town with the city. That property should fall under some of those codes for the owners to clean it up. And if the property can get cleaned up, if it can get cleaned up like it should get cleaned up, it certainly won't be such an eyesore anymore. But at $500,000, I'm not spending anything down there.
Les, will you come up and give us an update on how we've contacted them about cleaning up, because it is an eyesore.
Yes, sir. They were contacted numerous times last year regarding the maintenance, the property maintenance of the property. I spoke directly with Mr. Mark Williams, who is their legal counsel for this property, and he assured me numerous times that the property would be cleaned up, that they were moving forward, they would start taking down the equipment, they would get the things cleaned up. Thankfully, Mr. Plunkett with the street department would go in periodically and get the front part of it cleaned up. They then threw back the card that they had given us the property in the back for the greenway. So it was kind of a catch thing with them that they were throwing back, well, we gave you this, you know, you should work with us on getting it cleaned up. I agree, but they have been contacted numerous times with certified letters, with violation letters, and at that point then, you know, we were told that they were coming back with a proposal for the city, and wintertime was coming.
Yeah, well, what they've had, they can clean up, and no matter what, they still
Agree.
fall within.
It will take months actually to get it where it needs to be. You know, as far as the growth and stuff like that, that won't take as long to do. It is a pretty, you know, good sized place, and they have let it really get out of hand. But as far as all the other items that are still sitting on the property, it'll take some time to get that done,
Right.
and lots of money.
Yeah, lots of money.
Yes, sir.
It's, I'm just for that company doing what they should do according to the city codes. And if they don't abide by the city codes, then go wherever we need to go with it, turn it over to the city administrator. But to sink that kind of money into that, down there is just not, I'm not even for going any further right here.
I agree.
Do we know what it's worth? Do we know what it's worth?
Well, you'd have to,
A guesstimate of anything?
I don't know if they've looked up on the county what they've got on their knob, but you'd have
I
to,
just wonder.
you would have to have an appraisal to really get a good idea, but
Right.
I don't know if I'm at a point where I care anything about getting an appraisal on it, the condition it's in,
I see.
because we would have to, if we did have it, it's gonna cost no telling what to clean that place up.
Yes, sir.
And then on top of that, you've got environmental concerns. Once you get it cleaned up, you've got some environmental concerns down there it could have. And I don't think the city should inherit that, right? You know, at one time we talked about, well, you know, if they would just really wanted to get rid of it and all, and we could get it for just a really cheap price, it might be worth it, but I don't see we're anywhere around going any further with this. That's my opinion. Not at this time.
I agree. I'm not interested in spending that kind of money. If we were going to spend that kind of money, I would rather have seen us bought the property closer to the park, those houses that we looked at one time. I mean, that was a much better proposal there than this, so not with the cost of having. And, you know, maybe we could approach them that it is an environmental problem and they need to get on it and get it cleaned up. Maybe approaching them that way, it would prompt them to do something more quickly.
Yes, ma'am. And I will go forward right from this moment forward with the proper channels to get it cleaned up.
I think that's what we need to do, and then after it all gets cleaned up, then we take a fresh look. But that being in the zone it's in and the flood zone it's in and all such as that, they're not likely to sell that property to nobody else. Not likely. Well, if I was gonna spend that kind of money for the city, I would go up there on that corner lot and give them what they want for that corner lot, is the Badenhoff lot, which is, to us, is too much. So I appreciate the work on it and everything, but I don't see any point going no further right now on this, other than to clean up.
Yes, sir.
That's just me.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Ms. Gentry, 2019 Planning Commission Annual Report.
Yes, sir. This document was approved at the January Planning Commission, and they wanted to move it forward to the board for their approval and acceptance. The document lists all the members and their tenures, and it breaks down by month the projects that were approved in 2019. And the last thing is our goals that we have decided to try to accomplish in 2020.
Those goals being update subdivision regulations, incorporate the new state regulations, address tiny houses, establish definitions, compose and submit an ordinance currently not addressed in the zoning ordinance. So this is a report that, per the Planning Commission, we need to approve, just to have on record that they've done their duty for the year. So if it's okay with everybody, we'll push this to Tuesday.
I'm okay with it.
Number 3, Joint Leadership City Mural Patio Project. Ms. Lance, you come back again. Part of Leadership Lincoln current class.
Yes, sir. The Leadership Lincoln class of 2019-2020 we have taken on the mural area, the mural project for some beautification, small city type park area. The concrete there is in pretty rough shape. Mr. Plunkett with the street department has agreed to remove the old concrete for us, and what the leadership class would like to respectfully request from the city is the paying for the labor for the framing and finishing of a concrete pad, a new concrete pad, which would be 1,000 square foot area. The leadership class, as part of our fundraiser, will be responsible for the amount of the concrete. Then we will be adding 2 metal benches, a trash receptacle, and 2 of the big planters for that area. So it would be a very nice little city park area. And what we're requesting from the board is $2,100 from the city for just the labor for the framing and finishing of the concrete patio.
Could we approve this and recommend this in finance to the full board? Felt like it was a good thing, so.
The city does own the property, so it would be going right back on city property, the amount that would be invested.
I'm for carrying it on.
I'm good with it too.
I'm good with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Item number 4, on your iPad yet, the artwork for the new I-65 billboard at exit 361 coming north. We had our follow-up meeting with Chandler Thinks a couple weeks ago, in which she explained and rehashed their final comments, and part of that, this slogan was that's going to be on the billboard would be part of that branding initiative that we discussed. Scott, in the bottom right-hand corner, that text isn't correct. It says,
No, that's just a placeholder.
well, let's go ahead and put what it would be.
I think we may have it.
It was brought to our committee about the different colors that we going to put on there, and I talked to Mr. Chandler yesterday, and the only thing that he suggested was just to be careful with the colors that we pick, because what means red to one person may mean love to one, may mean something else to somebody else. So just be careful with the color patterns. So I was tasked with trying to get some different color patterns, and so he didn't have time to do it. He said his development team, because we just got in touch with him yesterday. So I had my wife to go through and bring it in Photoshop and to just put a few colors together. So I don't know if y'all just want to kind of go through them and see if y'all got any good ideas of the colors that you would like to use. Kind of like that one, kind of looks like a little slaw, and the slaw bird.
Well, the color brown on an interstate gets people's attention,
So,
because I don't know that that's the one to use, but I'm just saying that it does get people's attention.
but, you know, to get someone to decide on the color and what we want to use, you know, you could even go with pictures, but I don't know. I think just a color pattern is what we need. I think we all kind of agreed with the same, correct?
Right.
And
I think
Gary-
this slogan, I'm sorry.
No, ma'am, go ahead.
I think the slogan looks really good because, like you mentioned in the IT and Planning Committee meeting, going 70 miles an hour down an interstate, it needs to be simple, it needs to be big and bold, and I think this says it all. So if we could just come up with the colors, I wouldn't change anything, like the background. You know, they did show us some samples of where the courthouse or the square was kind of faded in the back, but I think you're going to distract putting it on a, you know, a big
But we
sign.
would, even if you had honeys back there, we would have to get their permissions.
I wouldn't put that
No.
on there. I wouldn't put any buildings on there.
Yeah, and so anyway, these are kind of the colors, and so if we could just maybe come up with some colors that we'd like to use, and we can move forward.
Share with them, please, why he said the dark green and white lettering and the blue.
Well, with the green, the only thing he said, it was just, you know, during the summer it would stand out. The blue, I'm not sure.
Well, you told us after you talked to them that these were the colors that studies have shown will make the white lettering pop out.
Yes, sir.
And the white lettering will be the primary, what draw the eye.
Well, red's the most identifiable color. That's always been the study, that red is the most identifiable color. That's right, when people get the most speeding tickets, drive red cars. This is true. It's a study I've been doing for years. So I would think I don't have a problem with the blue at the bottom. I don't know why we're going to put the solid red behind where the green is. The white would still pop.
We can have them change anything as long as we know the color pattern that we
Yeah.
use.
But I think that we seem to agree
that one
on
right there.
we seem to agree on the artwork as far as the language, the Fayettville logo, and the slogan. And we get the type in the bottom right-hand corner correct and the exit correct.
Yeah, and we just went ahead last night, because I was working with Jennifer, we just put exit 14 in there.
Coming
North, going south, it may be a different exit, but I would assume it's 14.
It's 14 both ways.
Yeah, so I had to put 14 in. So, any suggestions on what we should do, or we just need to get together and we send these out to you guys and then y'all come
Yeah.
back?
We'll
I'd like to see us narrow it down to two colors. You said red, and they suggest the green, so why don't we consider these two colors only, and then make a conscious decision and decide on those two, instead of taking all of these and having to pick too much.
Yeah,
I like the green and the blue. I think it stands out pretty good. I mean, it's
this one here.
right, the one that they've got that they sent us.
Can you render us one in red? Let's look at that one too. Of course, when
So we're looking at these two?
I don't like the stripes. I'm talking
just
solid,
change
solid
that. Just change
red.
that color.
Yeah, and I think we have that.
Stripes are too busy.
Kind of like that,
Yeah.
but it would be exit 14.
Yeah.
And the background would be solid. This would be the solid background. This,
Yeah.
we're not talking about striping, we're talking about the background being solid.
Just changing that color to red. White still pops. So.
Changing this color here to red.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it blue here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be like the state flag.
I was gonna say, that'd be like the state flag red.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of these, we need there.
Oh, my wife says I'm colorblind.
Okay.
So I'm good with whatever, you
Look at
know.
those two colors.
I think it needs to be decided pretty fast though, because we're paying for a
Yeah.
billboard with nothing on it.
Yeah. So, Jeff, you just send that out to the board, or have Pam send that out to the
Yeah, I'll
board.
give them Mr. Chairman, and have them change that.
We'll approve it Tuesday night
Okay.
and get on it. So. IT, Mr. Taylor, do you have anything this month?
Not really, everything is still on plan for it with payroll and.
Oh, you gotta come to up here.
Payroll is still in the testing mode. I think this week we're in the process of just bringing in our hours and putting it into our test environment inside of local government, just to make sure that our numbers are matching the way they should. So that should go fine this week. I think we're going to put that in this Friday, so payroll is still on track. I think with the change that we've had in the office now, I think we've got to get a couple of people trained in the new environment. And so I think Pam and Stacy will be getting trained on that, so I've got that set up for them to get training. So we're still in the testing mode, and hopefully after this week, we should have a better idea of when we're gonna go live on it, as far as with both systems.
And the Wi-Fi on the square?
Looking very good. We finished the final testing on it this week, and it's looking very good. I'm gonna send a letter out to Mr. Dye this week, Mr. Dye, to see if he would meet with me on maybe a date when he could actually get it installed on the square. So I've got some enclosures, boxes that I had to buy to come in to put certain PoE switches inside so they can be mounted up there at the same time. But everything's tested, everything looks great, it's working good. We can limit the amount of time that someone's able to get on the internet. We can also protect the public so far not to get out and surf the internet and do certain things that as a city we don't want them to do. They're going to be behind our firewall. So,
Okay.
it's looking good.
What about the generator for the back?
Generator is on order now. They're hoping to have that installed by the end of this month. We've already given them their payment to where they've ordered it, and we were told that by the end of February it should be in place.
Mr. Taylor, I have a question. So when you're talking about this payroll system, the employees are already using the system as far as clocking in and clocking out during
Yes,
the
ma'am.
daytime.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's running smooth and everybody's using that. This is more what you're talking about now is the actual payroll, the checks going out and going through the system. Is that correct?
Correct. Local government actually, we put all the hours inside of local government, and then that actually prints our checks. So this is going to interface with local government, but we have to make sure local government is set up correctly. There was a few issues with local government that wasn't set up properly, so we're in the process of finishing that up.
Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, all employees are using the time clocks and they're working great.
Okay.
Thank you. Finance Committee. Finance, Ms. Roselle presented the 2021 budget calendar. That's on your iPads, the proposed calendar. So you can look and everybody can settle. There you go. So talking about on the finance meeting in April, the outside agencies come and present to finance at standard, and we're proposing on April 13th and 20th for our board to meet in our normal budget work session procedure that we do each year. May 12th, call for public hearing. May 20, 2020, public hearing. June 9th, public hearing and budget approval by board. So as board members look at those April 13th and 20th dates, if there's conflicts, but we really want to have our work session meetings in April as a board so we have everything ready to go by the time we need to notify the public and approve it in June. Anything else under finance? Administration, Mr. Collins.
Mayor, we're just working on the findings of the branding initiative and the downtown master plan to present a phased plan of recommendation on how to carry these out throughout the foreseeable future. That's all I have to report at this time.
Any other aldermen or board members have anything today? If not, we'll adjourn until Tuesday night, February meeting.